In this meeting, our meetings are recorded for future viewing, and we are privileged to gather on the traditional territory of the Kwakwaka'wakw. I'll call the meeting to order. For those online, you were emailed the new rural tax rates and a couple of their updated sheets. So we need to amend the agenda. Item 8B will be the rural tax rates report that was given to us. Any other additions or amendments to the agenda? And if not, a motion to adopt the agenda as amended. I'll move it. Moved it.
Mayor Wickstrom? May I comment on 9B, the Parks and Recreation item? Originally, the motion was for us to discuss that in a committee of the whole. This is now turned into a special council meeting. And I understand we're missing 2 councillors, correct?
Yes, we can go into a committee of the whole as we've done in the past, or we can defer it with 2 other councillors present.
Yeah, I would prefer to defer it. Missing 1 is one thing, but missing 2, I'm just not sure about that.
Table it. We can either do another, or another committee of the whole, or we could have it prior to one of our regular scheduled meetings in for expediency's sake. So are you proposing we table then?
I am, thank you.
Could we table till 6 p.m. on May 10th, ahead of our next council meeting?
I'm in favor of that.
Second that, Derek?
Yes.
Table May 6th, 6 p.m. prior to the regular meeting.
And that will be a committee of the whole.
10th.
Yes.
May 10th.
Sorry, May 10th. Apologies. Okay.
Thank you.
All those in favor? Opposed? It's carried. Okay. Next, oh, sorry. So then to a motion to adopt the agenda as amended. Moved and seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. All right. Moving on to item 5A. There's a letter from the Regional District of Mount Waddington. I was asked if we could put this on the next meeting that we had. And what they have done through their MRT-DT Regional Tourism Grant Program, given up to $5,000 from the area directors, and have sent this request along to ask if the 3 communities, Port Hardy, Alert Bay, and Port McNeill, would also contribute, and our portion would be $1,500. And this is for the tenors that are coming. What's your thoughts, Council?
I'll move receipt for discussion.
Okay. Seconded. Okay, go ahead.
I guess the question is, where is this money coming from?
Yeah, it could be grant and aid, could come from our COVID recovery, could come from general revenue if we had it, I guess. Just a little bit. Sorry, it's just, thanks. Tables, thanks. That's great. Yeah.
Is there a reason why we're being pulled into this?
This was the Economic Development Manager, Pat's suggestion to the Regional District Board, which was supported by the area directors. It was brought at that time to the table if the communities would support it, and where I replied that I don't have the authority to say yes or no, and it would come to a council meeting. And sorry, before I go to you, Councillor Cole, the Economic Development Manager, Pat, feels as though this would be good for the region from a tourism perspective. Go ahead, Councillor Cole.
Thank you, Mayor Wickstrom. Yeah, there's no real information attached about this event. And I feel if we're going to support something like this, it should go through the proper grant and aid process and the proper form filled out. so we can see the financials, et cetera.
I will say that this is not an initiative of the United Church. This is brought forward by the regional district. I'll offer up my personal opinion. I feel that it is supporting this tenors concert will be supporting an organization which we have already supported for a substantial amount. So I am not feeling 100% in favor of supporting this myself. Not that I'm opposed to the concert. I will be going, but that's my reason. Councillor Downey?
I didn't put my hand up.
Oh, sorry, okay. So we can keep it as a receive and file, or I can report back to the economic development manager and ask that they apply for a grant in aid. Unless we feel at this time that regardless of whether or not an application would be filled out, it would be supported. Go ahead, Councillor Downey.
So one thought here is the concert is being held here in Port McNeill. And I'm aware that many businesses and organizations have been tapped to purchase tickets and donate those tickets to those who are unable to fund attending a concert themselves. So I feel as though Port McNeill as a community has certainly done its part, and no doubt I believe our staff will be taxed with a variety of duties and responsibilities, whether it's managing parking, whether it's putting up barriers and setting up facilities. I have no doubt we will definitely be incurring costs. So for that reason, I won't be supporting this either. So I would motion that we just put this as a receive and file.
Go ahead, Councillor Cole.
I'll second that motion.
I think that was already. Yeah, okay. All right, all those in favor? Opposed, carried. Thank you. All right, moving on to item 8A. We've got our staff operating budget updates. Our CFO is here if you have any questions pertaining to those updates. Go ahead. Councillor Dunn.
Just to confirm again that this 101,000 is in the operating budget that was presented to us for this meeting? Correct.
Okay, any questions, Councillor Cole? Otherwise, we'll move on to the rural tax rate. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, maybe it's a dumb question, but where does the 101,000 come from? Where does that, we've added to the budget, so.
Yeah, through the chair. Yep. So it will come through general surplus, through our taxes, utilities.
So we're still planning on the 2% increase?
At this point, unless it's a different decision made.
And so there's extra money in the, so what if that was 200,000? It still comes out of the general revenue, or?
It will come out of the general revenue at this time through surplus.
Councillor Dunn?
My question would be the extra 100,000, does that mean we are pulling more out of reserves
I would recommend,
in order to fund this?
sorry, so originally we had said 200,000 to go into reserves, so I would recommend reducing that to 100,000 going into reserves.
Okay.
Any other questions? All right, we'll move on to the rural tax rate. And ask if this is also an updated sheet you were emailed. And ask if there's any questions pertaining to the rural tax rates. I know Councillor Cole, last week you had a couple of questions, or were about to ask a couple of questions till the budget was deferred.
No questions at this time, thank you.
Okay. All right, so moving along then to item 8B. we have our 5-year financial plan. Looking for first and second reading. We can move that, and we can discuss the budget itself.
I'll move it.
Seconded by? Seconded. Okay. Comments? Concerns, changes?
So, if I may, Mayor
Yeah,
Wickstrom.
go ahead, Cal. Yeah, go ahead.
So
Councillor.
we're gonna do the first reading on this. The Schedule D is a different motion. The Schedule D draft. I wanted to comment on the Schedule D, but that's the motion after this. I just want to confirm that.
Just a moment, let me get to the page.
What page is that, Councillor Cole?
Schedule D is the big spreadsheet, 15 of
Oh, sorry.
45. But I think that's a separate motion, the way it's written.
No, it's all part of bylaw 710-2022, so
Okay.
all of this, can,
So I do have a few
I
questions.
believe, sorry, yes, I'm getting a nod from staff that's in fact true. I had
Okay.
Councillor Cole.
So on 15 of 45, at the top, under fire department, third bullet down, exhaust brake parts, 3,500. Now, to me, that just doesn't jive with the rest of the capital items on here. That just seems to me like it would be an operating thing.
Sorry,
I
so
wonder if I could get a comment.
yeah, so through the chair, so that's an improvement to one of the vehicles, so that becomes capital.
Okay. So then now I'm looking at the harbor, about 3/4 of the way down, bear-proof bins at harbor front. And all these items I'm going to bring up are to do with like either 2023 or 24. So in this case, we're planning on bear-proof bins at the harbor front in 2024. And as far as I know, I don't think we have really a plan per se. But that just strikes me as odd. Like if bear-proof bins are important in 2024, they should be important now. So I would like council to consider moving that up to 2022, or if there's a good reason we're waiting. I'm all ears.
Anywhere.
I can read the comment from the harbor in the budget submission. So the harbor's comment was, every year we have issues with crows and other wildlife getting into spreading garbage from current pedestrian bins. The current bins are often full and overflowing, which increases the problem. Every year we have members of the public and the harbor advisory group inquire about recycling containers in the harbor. Introducing these bins to our harbor will reduce wildlife attractants, reduce environmental contamination, increase garbage and recycling availability, contribute to the beautification of the town and the outlook of our town to tourists coming through our harbor and ferry terminal.
Yeah, so in my opinion, all those items stand today.
Councillor Downey, you had a comment?
So it would seem that the conditions which required them asking for the funds are true, as Councillor Cole says, they're true today. So to defer it 2 years means we're pushing the problem further down the road, so. The only trouble I see is we don't have clarity what this bear-proof bin is. Are we installing recycling bins? Are we installing better garbage, larger garbage containers? It's not really clear as to what we're getting for this, so.
I think that's kind of my point. If we move this to 2022, it's a budget item, it's an action item, and then the plan will roll out. One would assume.
Yeah.
So I would like to make the motion that we move the 15,000 2024 to 2022 bear-proof bins at harbor front.
Okay, seconder for that motion?
I'll second it. The question I have follow-up though is, do we have the capacity to get it done this year on top of everything else? It might be prudent to move it to 2023. The reality is by the time they get their ducks in a row, it's gonna be, you know, if we have them January 23, we're talking 7 months from now. So would you be
Well-
open to that?
Not really. If for some reason it's delayed, and we just carry it over. But if we put it to 2023, nothing's gonna happen until a couple months from now, and then we'll be right back in the same thing. So I think we need to plan for it. Like if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. We just carry it over. The money just carries over, but the commitment's there. And I would, we had a private donation a couple years ago of $10,000, on this item. And it'd be nice to follow, and we did spend it wisely, but it'd be nice to follow through.
Okay. Okay, my question would be on a practical sense, does that change that, you're smiling, does it change the tax rate much? Is it?
It's whether you want to take it from taxes or reduce the reserve that we have planned.
So the COVID recovery from those funds or which
With COVID as a
revenue shortfall?
Yeah.
It's not really a revenue shortfall. We just easily dipped into the reserve for 100,000. We thought all those things were important, so.
Before we decide that, I would like our CFO to just make a comment on the 100,000 that we are committing, or what you're suggesting to commit and the reasons why it's important to do so.
The recommendation suggestion is to go to the stormwater reserve. Public Works has been doing work and continues to plan to do work to upgrade that. So he'd like to see money continue to build that reserve. And if we apply for grants, we also have to show that we have a reserve of funds that can contribute towards that grant in order to be eligible.
So if we did that and pulled it from there, then it would go down to 85.
Yeah.
I would just remind council that we are sitting on our funds from our community forest.
Mhm.
If an opportunity comes to deal with our stormwater, we certainly do have means to match any funding opportunities that do come our way.
Okay. All right, so am I hearing then that it would, it will come from the reserve funds? The reserve funds will be reduced to 85 in order to, okay. Call the question then. All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Any other questions from the Schedule D? Go ahead, Councillor Cole.
Okay, moving along, again, Public Works. Partway down, Pumper 1 enclosure. And correct me if I'm wrong, Pumper 1s are like vintage truck?
Correct.
Correct. I would like to, I'm just having a bit of a troubles with some of the things we have planned in 2023 because we have no plan. And I'm going to move that we strike the Pumper 1 enclosure from the 5-year plan. If, we think it's that important, then maybe we should have a $30,000 tax increase. And, to me, this is a community type project that's not needed for the fire department's operation.
Seconder for that motion? Go ahead, Councillor Denny. Yes.
Second it, and I'm going to explain why. We have deferred our discussion around our parks and rec, but the reality is we do need a master plan for our parks and recreation. If we are going to take vintage vehicles and put them on display, whether it's a pumper truck or a steam donkey or a burro, whichever the case may be, I feel that is more appropriately covered under our Parks and Rec master plan and or even within the tourism budget. So to add that to our Public Works, I feel that there's a better spot we could pull that funding from. So I don't disagree with your comments.
Okay, so do we want to off altogether or in a parking lot? I guess there's no parking lot on Schedule D, so. Go ahead. Yeah.
I appreciate your input always, Councillor Cole. However, we are at May 3rd and the budget is due soon. I would prefer to pass the budget with the one change to the bear-proof bins. And this plan that's in front of us can be revisited and revised in 2022. If we start this budgeting process soon enough, we can have this conversation in September as to what 2023 going forward looks like. So for expediency, I would prefer to pass the budget as it is. But I always appreciate your input.
Well, I have more input, and to me, deleting this from the 2023 column doesn't really change the budget very much at all. Like, it's for 2023, it doesn't change the 2022 budget. And, you know, while we're at it, along the same lines, Councillor Downey.
Hang on just a sec. Is it
Sure.
pertaining to this? Because we have a motion on the table for this.
Sure, let's call the question and then.
Okay. All those in favor from striking that from the 2023? Opposed? That's carried. Go ahead, Councillor Cole.
Thank you, Mayor Wexton. So along those lines of the park planning, et cetera, the new playground and dog park fence, I'll just say the new playground. Yeah, I'm just not sure. We don't have a plan at all. I think we should just strike that. And if one is looking at this plan, it certainly looks like if the public's looking at this 5-year plan, it looks like we have a plan for a new playground, and we do not. I don't know if that's enough money or where it goes, et cetera, et cetera. So I'd like to make a motion that we strike new playground from a 2023 5-year budget.
Seconder for that motion? Okay, there is no seconder.
Okay, I'd like to make another motion if I may.
Can I make a comment before you make the motion?
Sure.
One of the things on all of these on 2023, there's a possibility of a new council. You know, like the dynamics around the table could look very different. And, you know, we may be striking things that will be re-added, or there might be something completely new that's there. So just wanted to keep that in mind as you go on your further suggestions. Go ahead.
Yeah, I sure hope some of this comes back to the table. Same with dog park fencing. So I'd like to make a motion to remove that. It's the first time I've seen it been suggested, and there's no plan, and we're about to embark on a parks strategy. So my motion is to remove dog park fencing from 2023 5-year plan budget.
For that motion? Okay, there is no seconder.
Okay, fair enough. Burl structure renovation right below that. I would like to move that 20,000 to 2022. And take and we can discuss this when we talk about the steam donkey, but I'd like to take the momentum of the steam donkey and frankly move the Burl to a better location. So my motion is to move the 20,000 from 2023 to 2022 Burl structure renovation.
Okay, seconder for that motion? There is no seconder.
Okay, just two more items. The ambulance hall sleeping quarters, 100,000, 2024. Again, if the public's looking at this, it looks like we're making a significant investment in the ambulance hall. We have no plans. As far as I know, we have a current lease with them that makes no regard to this in the rates or in the language. So my motion is to remove ambulance hall sleeping quarters from 2024 5-year budget.
Seconder for that? I will second it for discussion. I know that they did have a discussion, very high level, with the ambulance, and it was left at, I think that they were going to be coming, refresh my memory, they're going to be coming back because they're actually looking for a fire hall. So they might be looking for land to put that or place it on the same place that the fire hall is. So I'm in agreement with you, Councillor Cole. I think we could strike that until such time that we have a robust discussion with BC Ambulance. Any other comments? All those in favor? Opposed, it's carried. Okay,
And just one more, the welcome signage, 40,000 plan for 2025. And I wonder if this is part of the tourism, the TABI plan, or if there's something we could just strike, because it's sort of the first I've heard of it as well.
I believe this is our actual welcome to Port McNeil sign that needs to be replaced. Can I have confirmation from staff?
I don't, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Um,
Oh, sorry.
No, this is new to me too.
Okay. Mhm.
So yeah, I would like to make a motion to strike the 40,000 for the welcome signage until such time as we're plan.
Okay, seconder for that motion?
Seconded, we're already making 1,000 changes, so.
Okay, although, call the question then, all those in favor? Are you in favor, Councillor Cole? Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
And opposed? It's carried. Okay, anything else? Okay, so we'll move along then. If there's no further questions or changes, I'll call the question for the first and second reading for bylaw 710, 2022, 5-year financial plan. All those in favor? Opposed? It's carried. Okay, moving to item 8C, historical tax. This is just a report to set us up for bylaw 711, 2022. Any questions on that historical tax rate? Along then to item 8D, which is bylaw 711, 2022 tax rate bylaw. Are we looking for first and second reading on this as well?
Yes.
Okay, first and second reading.
I'll move it.
Okay. A seconder for that? I'll second it. Okay, so go ahead so we can discuss. Page 21 was updated to reflect the rural tax rate that our CFO was given. And those effective changes were to light industry, rural, and business, correct?
The update that I sent. Or that didn't come over properly.
Okay.
So. And this is at a 2% increase over last year.
Questions on it? Call the question then. All those in favor? Opposed? And that's carried.
Put a motion that we do third reading on this bylaw as well.
We can't because it needs to go to public first. Yeah. Which will require us to have a special meeting, but because two are missing, we can resend out the email for the dates. And if you can get back to the CFO, it has to be 24 hours after our next meeting, which is on the 10th. Is that correct? May 10th? Yes.
It is the 10th.
And so it has to be 24 hours after that. So we can either have it on Wednesday night or Thursday quickly in the morning. It can be all online for the final reading. It shouldn't take us more than 5 minutes at that time to meet the deadline, which is
It's May 13th.
May
May 15th, but the 15th is a holiday,
It's a
so it's the
holiday.
13th, the Friday.
So is third reading at our council meeting on the 10th?
yes. And we'll be able to make any last minute changes before third reading at that time. Okay. All right, moving on to 9A, council report for the Steam Donkey. I'll turn this over to Councillor Downey. Thank you very much for your work on this.
Thank you. So just the background on this, this Steam Donkey was brought into Port McNeill in 1992. And a group of men here in the community sought to build the sled. Another group is in charge of painting and repairs. But the original sled was built by a crew of men, Mark Wilson, Fred Mantic, Ken Marzoff, Mickey Brown, and Grant Anderson. Mark Wilson, Fred Mantic, and Mickey Brown have passed away. We still have two men who built the original sled residing in the town of Port McNeill. They, along with the sons and grandson of Mar, Fred, and Mickey, have rebuilt or in the process of building a replacement sled to go under the Steam Donkey. If you look on the photo that, there's two photos. The top one was 1995 when the Steam Donkey was dedicated, and the bottom is the current state of our Steam Donkey. You will see that the sled has deteriorated and is in fact a safety hazard. A new sled is being built from cedar. It is likely to be completed and ready within a couple of weeks. So we have an opportunity to make the situation and the site upon which the Steam Donkey rests a safe place to remove the hazards. So I am seeking from council their desire as to where this could be placed, because this conversation has happened and gone around this table many times over the years. And without a location to move to, nothing else can happen. That is step one. We have people who are prepared to donate their time, their labor, their finances. They've offered input. I have quotes on the different aspects that need to be attended to after this Steam Donkey is put onto a new skid. But nothing, as I say, nothing can happen until a location is finalized. So I'm bringing this to council with a recommendation. I've spoken with the Chamber of Commerce. I spoke with Councillor Barron, who, as an email went out this morning or last night, I believe, just stating, you know, what she's heard around the table and discussions that have been had down at the Harbor Advisory Committee as well. So what's being proposed is to build the sled, place the sled in front of it. You'll see a green space forward of the current position location of the sled. You'll see a tree. So it's moving closer towards the visitor center office. So that would be the easiest, most efficient. And when you walk through the property, it allows for a place of gathering and convening for tourists and locals alike if it maintains and has stayed in the immediate local area there. So, but this is for a council decision, and what I'm asking is for a decision in a timely manner.
Questions, comments? Go ahead, Councillor Cole.
Thank you, Mayor Wickstrom. Councillor Downey, we have $20,000 for Steam Donkey repairs. Do you foresee using those funds, or is that what would the funds go for?
So right now I have two quotes in front of me for the refurbishment and painting. There is some welding that will need to happen on it. We believe we can get those services donated with some talented welders. I suppose the question would be, because there is part of it that is deteriorated quite significantly, how much do we want to restore it? Are we going to replace, right at the top of the Steam Donkey, there's a band that goes around it and it's corroded and broken apart. Are we replacing that? Are we going to get that machined? And if so, how? So I believe as this project sits right now, there is support within the community, and to have this done for very little cost to the town. But in saying that, if we are looking for, depending on the degree of restoration, that 20,000 could be tapped into and spent in a heartbeat.
Staff, sorry, through the chair, the 20,000, just so we're aware that.
It's a grant.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, yeah. And just a
Um,
reminder that the 20,000 is a seeking grant funding for
Hmm.
that.
And we've applied for a grant? Or we're just, that's money parked for the possibility of a grant?
It's
Matching.
money for the possibility.
So
So
any,
the two things, maybe I just could clarify, the immediate concern really is to get it off that deteriorating skid. That's the immediate concern, and there will be minimal cost to that. The cost will come in the restoration and repainting of it. So it's kind of a two-step approach here. It's the painting, the restoration, fixing it, or the repairing it, where the money will be, and the moving it is less so.
so at this point, I assume we're gonna council agree to move it, but any significant expenses would come back to council. I would assume.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If funding is required of council, it would come before council.
Thank you. I'd like to go ahead and make the motion, if I may, to keep the steam donkey at the harbor front and locate it near where it currently is.
Seconder for that motion? Second? No,
Okay.
I'll second it.
Yeah, maybe just tweak that motion a little bit and we support the community group that's working on it or something. I just don't want it to the motion to reflect that, council's moving it ourselves or Public Works or something.
Just for clarity, though, there probably will be some assistance needed from Public Works, I would think.
I will say that Julian has been an interested party in this renovation. Not, he's Julian, the resident of Port McNeil, not Julian, the Public Works guy, so.
Could you reread that motion, please, for us, Connor?
That the steam donkey be kept at the harbor front and that it be relocated on site for restoration.
And you wanted added what, Councillor Cole? to that?
By the community at the end of that. That's okay.
By the community.
Community group, yeah. You come, or I guess I seconded that motion. Yeah, I'm comfortable with that amendment. Any further discussion on that motion? Before I call the question, you have what you need, Councillor Downey, to report back to the group?
Yes, I do.
Okay, all those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay, item 9D has been tabled till May 10th. And are there any, there is public/media. Are there any questions from Bill? No questions, but didn't mention that the audio this morning was the best you got. Oh, excellent. Great. Thanks for that feedback. I was going to ask before we adjourned. Okay, motion to adjourn. Moved, seconded. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you very much. Have a great day, everybody.
Thank you.
A question for you.
I'm excited about the steam donkey thing.
District of Port Harbor, we have the Tourism Advisory Committee. And it says here Parks and Rec. I just
Yes.
wondered, is there?
We don't have the Parks and